What happens when we have divine trust? When we trust in the creative intelligence of the universe, it can transform our lives in profound ways. It can give us a sense of purpose, direction, and guidance when we are faced with life challenges. And it helps us find the strength and courage to persevere and to see beyond our current circumstances to a brighter future. Stay tuned for the next episode of Exploring the Mystical Side of Life. Dr. Nancy Wiley joins us, and we take a deep dive into the transformative power of divine trust.
Welcome to Exploring the Mystical Side of Life with your host, Linda Lang.
Hi, this is Linda Lang from ThoughtChange.com. We are exploring the mystical side of life once again this week. If you enjoy our conversations, make sure you subscribe, share with a friend. Today, I have Dr. Nancy Wiley with me. Nancy is a spiritual teacher, an author, and a scientist. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me here. I just love your show and I love the work you're doing. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I'm so excited for our conversation today because we're talking about divine trust. Tell me what you mean by divine trust.
So I define it because I just picked up the dictionary and I'm like, oh, I love that. So trust is the firm belief in the reliability, strength, or truth of a thing. In this case, God, source, whatever your name is for that higher energy. So at first, trust is like faith. You base it on nothing. You base it on what other people say. So you reach out for it. And once it takes your hand and brings you in, communes with you, and you see the face of God, and you see it's been waiting there for you to see it, you now have this one-on-one relationship. It's just so beautiful and exquisite. Then it becomes not a matter of faith. It becomes an actual, realized, tangible communion. So it's trust that's based on an actual relationship that you have with Source, like a give and take. And once you commune and sit in it, it teaches you things, it tells you things, it shows you things, and you become to trust it. And the more you sit with it, merge with it, the more beautiful things start to happen in your life and it starts to take over. So for me, it is the way home. It's the direct path home.
You weren't born with this knowingness of divine trust. How did you awaken that within you?
I had a really beautiful teacher. Her name was Jenna Molly, and she would have us do exercises. And, she would have us spend a month on love, a month on gratitude, a month on trust. Well, something about the trust and sitting in that after hour and hour and hour in meditation, it just became my way home. It just resonated with something inside me. And then that started to become my come from. So whatever started to happen, I'd be like, I trust. And I started to actually work with this energy to dissolve all kinds of things, financial things, doubts, fears, worries, whatever, because in this present moment, which you have to be in the present moment to get to Source anyway, whichever path, love, gratitude, trust, you come into the present moment and then you actually, the trust was vibration for me. And I realized it was my way home. And if it could help me, maybe it could help others. And then, like, I'm sitting in the orthodontic office about 1.5 miles from Marjory Stoneman Douglas on the afternoon of February 14th, 2018, when the shooting happened. And a mom standing right next to me, had an alert on her phone and she exclaimed, "There's an active shooter at Douglas," which is the Parkland High School. And we all breathed in, and then sirens and helicopters, and we couldn't work anymore. We weren't really getting information exactly. one of my patients who unfortunately saw two of her friends shot right next to her in the classroom was calling my office manager, who she had a really great relationship to, the whole thing. So we knew it was really serious and dire. We had no clue. That was around 2 something in the afternoon. We had to stop working. No one could think of anything. We were just all like choked up and like in one big knot. And I decided to close the afternoon. And on the way home, I saw like 30 cars parked along the street. Parents had abandoned their cars and just pulled it up along the sidewalk. So it was halfway in the street and halfway on the sidewalk, and walked the rest of the 1.5 miles to the school to try to, get to their teens that were, in the school. So that night, we didn't hear much of anything, but my office manager stayed up all night with people. And one of my staff in particular was so mad at her sister, who was a freshman, and was mad at her sister because she never kept her phone on. So she couldn't answer her. So she was desperately trying to call her sister. Well, she was one of the 17. And, the guilt for that, for like cussing out her sister for not having her phone on when she was one of the 17. And everyone else after that, like no one came to the office for about 6 weeks. And when the kids started coming, the whole community had this vacant look, like there was no one home. You could see in their eyes, but there was no one home. It's a signal of post-traumatic stress. So I did have a patient who was a psychotherapist. Actually, he's a psychologist. And he said, you watch, they're going to start committing suicide. I'm like, I don't get the connection. And he said, either they're going to have survivor's guilt, so like they feel like it should have been them and not their best friend, or that they're going to have severe anxiety and fear, like they'll never be safe again. There's nowhere, no place they'll ever be able to feel safe again, so they commit suicide. So sure enough, that started happening. And I'm like, I got to act, because I went 5 days after this. I was really taken out of sorts. And I went deep into a meditation and I asked, why? I trust you. I know that from your perspective, there's nothing bad that ever happens. Tell me why. Show me why, to my human mind, why this happens. So I got answers, and the answers are all in the book. But basically, it was, we have to go through this pain to wake up, to change what we're supposed to do. And everyone, not only the people that gave their lives for it, everybody came in knowing full well their relationship to this and their role in this, and that they have a choice point to change the world, to be the change, be the change. And that's what I kept hearing last night, because this Uvalde thing is stirring up so much in me. So the Uvalde shootings in Texas. So be the change, stand for love, take a stand for love.
So Nancy, it's not just like a passive way of being, of trusting the universe, of trusting that things will work out. You're telling us there's an active part of choice and free will that are part of this as well.
You are so perfect. That question is so perfect. You're picking up on this. Yes, this is an active calling. I believe we're all here. We all, like before we take a body, we come in and we're like, okay, I want that lesson and that lesson and that lesson. And we all agree. And the people who are the so-called evil people, they're agreeing too. Okay, yeah, I'll be the evil one this time. I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure you guys all have this experience of forgiveness and love and rising above and finding your way home in the midst of this pain and suffering. Yeah, I'll do that. And we all agree, and we all come in and we play our parts knowingly. And we know when we're going to go, although we're given amnesia because it's too much for us as humans to know. I mean, sometimes when we spiritually awaken, we might get glimpses of that. I mean, I really don't want to know when I'm leaving the world. I just see one foot, but this is active. This, back to your question, this type of trust is an active role. You deliberately come to this place with divine trust, and then you drop in what it is you want to transmute. Is it violence? Is it pain and suffering? Is it Do you want financial help? Do you want relationship help? You plunk it in because it takes you to the 0 point where you're right with God. You're looking right at God. God's saying, what do you want to work with? What do you want to do? What do you want to manifest? What do you want to create? And it's there for you. It's all unfolding beautifully. So for me, at this moment, it is to teach healing based on this divine trust that nothing bad ever happens, that God is so powerful, and that we are co-creators. We are actually one. It comes right through us. We're extensions for it, and we're needed for it to express and feel itself for its evolution. And this, what's happening right now, right here in this moment, is for evolution. It is to take us and evolve us into a higher potential of where humanity can be right now. And it's not a bad thing, although our mind labels it as bad. From the perspective of the divine, it's all necessary to evolve us to a higher, better place.
So Nancy, you said the first thing we need to do is plug into divine trust.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? So many people don't even, have really an idea of what that could feel like. So how could they plug into it if they don't know?
So first, you have to open your heart, your mind and your heart, and you have to be willing. And I heard you say this on another call too, and allowing. You have to be willing and allowing. So it all starts with a choice we're making. And within each human, in our heart, is a calling for this. We know this. These words are resonating with everybody listening to this. And yes, they might not know, but please keep listening. So first, it starts with that calling, that gentle calling. There's more to life. There's more to me. There's more to you. There's more to everything. And it's a decision. Are we going to follow this? Are we going to learn about this? So first, you got to, open to this and be willing and allowing. Then I say, second step is have like this framework. So I'm starting to give it to you in little drips and jobs in this conversation. But have a framework, an intellectual understanding of who you are, what you're made of, and why. So have that knowledge, at least be open to hearing it, because I've had people on the path a long time with me, with my teacher, who say, that's too easy. And I'm like, just try it on. Just try it on. Suspend your mind and just try it on. What if it were true? What if what I'm saying is true? And then once you have that mental framework, the next thing is easy, and you know this. It's come into the present moment. Breathe, get out of the mind. The mind's the past, or it's the future, worry. It's into the present moment. Everything's okay. You're going to breathe in that present moment. Then, if you can I just start us on a little path?
Absolutely.
This is really key for me. It was key for me, and hopefully for your listeners too. We're breathing. Just breathe. I always like to say, give your mind a job to do. So follow a circle. Breathe in, breathe out slowly. Breathe in, breathe out. Now keep doing that and close your eyes while I talk you through this. Keep breathing in and breathe out. What you're doing is you're giving your mind a job. So it's following the circle and the breath. Now keep breathing, keep your eyes closed, keep following the circle. And I'm going to talk you through some things. So feel where you're sitting. Maybe feel where your hands are laying on your lap, or how your legs are touching the chair. Keep breathing in, keep your eyes closed. Keep breathing. Now, with your eyes closed, start to look in front of you. You might see a dark space. You might see light. Keep breathing and keep sensing into this space. Now, what you're sensing, is it a void? Is it inert? Or is it alive? Sense into it, because your inner being knows the answer to that. This energy wants you to see it. It's been waiting your whole life for you to see it. Now, I'm being a little quiet, but I'm feeling and sensing my own space in front of me, my own connection. And you might first get glimpses of something there, of an aliveness. And the longer you do this, and the more you do this, the more will be revealed to you. And with that, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. That energy that you just experienced at first for me was nothing. But then it started to become alive. And sometimes I'd see swirls of light or colors. And then eventually I grew to know that it was alive. It's divine source. And then further along, I actually saw it was me. I was it. And then the beauty started to unfold, and then I started to trust it. And then that trust was my connection, where no matter what's happening, all I have to do is what you just said to me, Linda, is say, trust, divine trust, and whew, I'm there.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, as you guided us through that, Nancy, I have a guide that comes and sits on my right shoulder, and I actually feel a weight, and they were there right away, right away. It's beautiful, beautiful. Now, I was thinking about your process, and it's a much kinder way of developing trust than the way that I kind of catapulted into it. And many other people, you know, they have something cataclysmic happen in their life, or some great trauma, and they don't know what else to do except surrender. And in that surrender, trust just blossoms. And then you listen, and you have guidance, you receive messages, you're not alone, and that further cultivates the trust.
You know, I think we all have core wounds. Again, I was listening to Patty Henry, and I'm like, yeah, it's all in my book about core wounds. It's part of the human condition. We're given these core wounds to actually wake us up. So we all have them. Do you know anyone who's not suffered at one point or another? It's just not existent. We're given these to actually be the impetus. I always say it's like a rose blossoming, and just open it. Just open it. But this is a gentle path, because if this could be taught early on before so many like heavy duty core wounds happen, it would just end suffering. It would end suffering. It would be an amazing gift for the whole planet. So yes, what you're saying is true. It is so gentle. But I think everybody feels like the need for this. This is a hunger or a thirst.
And how would you use this energy to heal things like relationships or finances or your own sense of self-confidence, let's say?
Okay, this starts, if you ever do chakra work, I know you do chakra work. A lot of money things will happen in like your first, second, and third chakras, like you have blockages, and it's past, you know, I think a lot of it is collective consciousness, honestly. And I feel like I'm called here to help with a lot of the collective consciousness, because I don't know where these fears or core wounds come from. But let's just take finances. So when I go to trust and I just let it out, I don't know, I move my energy outward into trust. Finances, like the day that I left, I was telling you before we started the show that I was an orthodontist, and I started getting back issues right around the shooting, actually, of the Parkland shooting. And I knew that it was meant to push me to something else. So I didn't look at it. I trusted it was meant to happen. And this is how I put the financial aspect back onto trust. So I left, I sold the practice. I got by a miracle, a great friend of mine who had been looking for 16 years to buy a practice right there, right in that neighborhood. He found out about me and anyways, he bought my practice. And 4 days after my walking out of there, my last day, I was walking out and I'm like, I have nothing to do. I have no visible means of income. I am going to trust. I'm going to practice what I think. Now I hadn't written the book. I had not written the book, but I'm like, I still had trust ingrained in me. So I just released out and I plunked financial into the trust. And I'm still doing it to this day. But I'll tell you what happened. Miracles did happen. So I got the message in a spiritual retreat I started 4 days after walking out to write the book on trust. And I told you it happened the first day. It said, you're going to write a book on trust. And I'm like, I'm a scientist. I'm not a writer. Writing is my weakest and least favorite thing to do. Second day, you embody trust. We've been working with you for a long time. You're going to write a book on trust. This is what you bring uniquely through your lens and through your energy field out that you could actually help so many people. You're going to write a book on trust. So I stopped arguing with it. The third day of the retreat, which was a 4-day retreat, nothing. Still, I trusted. The fourth day, way more specifics. You're going to write a book on trust. Here are the chapters. Get up and write this down. So I did. Soon after that, I found out that I had disability insurance and it would be covering my back because I had 4 herniated discs and 17 bulges, which Lord knows where these came from. I don't know. But disability insurance came and helped me. So that was my trust, that it was like visible means of support just came out of nowhere. So that was like a miracle. And so was the book. And I'm just being guided, like I'm being guided to do things for free. I know we're talked about a little bit about a masterclass, and we'll see what we can do with your listeners. I will, do my very best to offer it to them too. Anyways, this is how you plunk trust in. Financial is the same with relationships. You have something going on, you don't know what it is. You just go to this trust, this present moment trust, and put in the relationship and watch what happens. Miracles happen. And it is so gentle. It really is.
What a message. I mean, I think it's something that the world needs today.
Absolutely. Yes. We have so much going on here in the States. I mean, for us, I don't know how it is in Canada, but we have, political divide where families are torn apart by the two divides. And, this just unites everything. So this energy is a uniter. It's what's beautiful, what's good, what's kind. It's like everything's okay. Everything's okay. And nothing is ever bad in this magical world of divine trust. So we need it with the mass shootings. There's like mass shootings every day here. And oh my goodness, what are we going to do to change this? So I'm dropping this into my divine trust and honoring that to solve this situation and help correct it, because it's a one solution for everything. And a beautiful solution for everything.
Beautiful, definitely. And Nancy, what is your book?
Thank you. So it's Divine Trust, a practical guide to end your suffering and find your way home. The cover was in my front yard. So everything is so weird how it just miraculously shows up.
And if people want to learn more, how can they find you?
So, the book's available on Amazon in all forms, paperback, Audible, Kindle. And if they want to work with me, it's trustthedivine.com.
So Nancy, you have a beautiful course to help cultivate the sense of divine trust. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
For sure. It's living life in ease and flow. But basically, I take the book, I divide it into 3 sections, and it's taught over 3 weeks with the power of the divine trust. It's so elevating. So it makes you feel so beautiful. I mean, I'm all about like the beauty inside of us, being everything is okay, everything, no matter what happened. If someone comes with a specific problem, just the light of the consciousness that flows through me can dissolve this. I know you know what, because you do the same thing. I know you know what this is like. It just is meant to happen. We are the light workers, and we're using our light to ignite everybody else's light. And it's kind of like going out. Like I have this visual of the planet, and it's lighting up like 2/3 to 3/4 with this knowledge. This is sacred knowledge we carry. And this is what we are sharing.
Beautiful, beautiful. I will put the link to that in the show notes.
That would be great. Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you so much for being my guest.
Oh, Linda, thank you. It's a pleasure. I just love being with you. You are so awesome. And I love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for listening to this week's edition of Exploring the Mystical Side of Life. You will find all of our conversations on YouTube, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio. Come visit me at thoughtchange.com. Pick up your copy of Learning to Listen and learn what energy medicine can do for you. That's it for this week. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.